Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. I probably started that recording like 5 times. Each time my throat felt... This is the type of stuff that keeps happening. I wanted to say each time something happens with my throat as I try to speak, but I've been clearing my throat in between and feeling very determined to do this reading. And so you'll please excuse my speech. But what I'm finding from what I'm explaining is that it would appear that you have a lot of interest in something, okay? There's something that you're pursuing and you are determined against all odds to fulfill your obligations in terms of this thing. It feels to me like there are interruptions, there are delays, there are inconveniences, but you have your eye on the goal. That's how I'm feeling. And I feel like before, these things used to just get in the way easily. And so you've kind of accepted that these delays will exist, but there's also like some kind of an awakening around your curiosity for this thing. Okay, so I don't know what the reading's going to be about, but I'll tell you that I felt a curiosity, a pull towards this particular reading. And look at that, at the center of the reading I have the 8 of Pentacles, literally the card of dedication. And underneath the deck I have the 3 of Wands, which tells me that there is something unexpected. It feels like around the corner is what it said. I was going to say coming in or whatever, but it says around the corner. And right below the 3 of Wands under the deck I have the Death card. And so this for me is speaking of a new beginning that's just around the corner, and one that you're not actually completely focused on. You can feel something's different, but you're not completely focused on that. You're focused on the tasks you've set before yourself. It's also as though the fact that this is sort of an approach to a new beginning, you're not focusing on that fact, okay? Because you've realized that that can turn into a distraction. And so if you are someone who seems to be determined and feels determined to achieve something in particular, and that actually that thing is not an outcome, it is an approach to your life and the things that you love. It's a different approach, and it's less easy to distract you from it because you seem like it's captured your attention, is how it feels. There are certain things that we do in life, some things you have to do, some things you want to do. So for example, if you love watching Netflix and someone says, let's watch Netflix, okay? What usually happens is you'll try figure out whether you have time to do that, but the want is there, right? And so if you're feeling tired, if that's the reason, you can still do the thing you love. You can still watch the Netflix. If you're feeling upset about something, Netflix becomes sort of the soother. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't take a lot to convince you to do that. And what I'm feeling is like this thing is no longer requiring a lot of regulation of your body, your energy, your mood in order to, pursue it. In fact, it's a little bit difficult to get your attention away from it. And so if somebody sort of like taps you on the shoulder and says, oh, please do this, you're kind of like, I've got to do that. Oh my goodness, 9 of Pentacles right next to the 8 of Pentacles. This thing is growing because of your focus. And not just that, your focus on it is growing. Your dedication is growing. Okay, and underneath the deck I have the Knight of Pentacles. And so this is what it draws me more towards the focus on it is growing. The amount of yourself, okay, the percentage of yourself that you're willing to put into it has like quadrupled. And something else that I'm picking up on is an awareness of how much others try to actually distract you from this. What is your priority? It's as if they can feel the shift in your focus and they understand somewhat the energy you bring to a space. And so when they see it being given to something else, it is picked up on. It goes off on their radar. Okay, and that's why I was picking up on the interference with your actions and your throat, even though you're pushing past that interference. I feel like this, for some of you, might actually be literal, but definitely initially I was picking it up energetically, but it does actually manifest in real life, if you know what I mean, where even if it's people wondering where you are, what's keeping you busy, what are you focused on, why do you seem more relaxed, why are you less frustrated, and actually, why are you so difficult to trigger? Tick, tick, tick. Culprit identified. That's actually how it feels to me. It feels like you're now alert to the culprit of, the way your energy's been going. And, we cannot place all this blame on others, but to notice and to become aware of what's been going on and how reliant some people may be, some energies may be on your focus and your energy. Because what happens when you do not give something your attention and you do not give it your energy, you're closing ranks. You're saving your energy, distributing it in a different direction, and that thing that was running off your energy gets cut off from the source. And so the thing that you've now started to focus on, that you actually enjoy, that focus is growing and something's coming out of it. For some of you, I'm picking this up as like internally a feeling that you're in more control of yourself. Okay, again, less triggered. You're actually noticing all these things. So this is again an inner and an outer reading. But you're observing that you're actually, as a person, feeling stronger, and that your mental awareness on sort of like what you focus on and what you don't give away anymore, you're seeing the fruits of that work and that focus, and it's becoming easier. So you're needing to put less awareness on it because it's become more natural to you. There's a sense that this idea around your identity and also your sovereignty has expanded. You're taking up more space in your world. Look at that. 8 of Cups is in the area of what's crossing you. And oh my goodness, under the deck, I have the 8 of Wands. So that's 3 8s. And what this is showing me is that this is like some serious movement happening in your life. You are walking away from a former way of life. You're not stopping. You're dedicated. You're completely aware what you're walking away from, and you're building energy in the process. Okay, and it's becoming easier. This is building momentum. This is a steady flow. Okay, and I mean that we started off with Pentacles really does tell me that this is a material shift in your life, and you're going to be able to see, or you are already seeing, the results. And what you're walking away from is actually not, obviously the 8 of Cups is showing me that these are things that you care about, but you must have had a reckoning with yourself around what matters more. Okay, what matters more to you. Okay, because even if you love something, it does not necessarily mean that that thing is going to serve your growth. Okay, and you actually will be able to love it better if you do focus on your growth and love yourself better. And having seen all these 3 8s, the one that's missing is the 8 of Swords, which is that self-imposed prison. You see the interference. It's the self-imposed prison where you keep looping and keep putting your energy into areas where you're not getting the results you want, and so you're not feeling this kind of care and progress that you want in your life. And so you're no longer stuck in your head. That's why you're needing less self-regulation, and so you're less triggered by the things that come up around you because you've actually got other stuff to do. And so I do see that there is some kind of cleaning up, tidying up that you need to do in these areas that you're walking away from, especially because you care. Okay, but you're also giving others an opportunity to build themselves up and to, follow suit and to also do what they care about and to really get them thinking around perhaps where are they in the Eight of Swords. Yep, there it is. In your recent past, a tower, and underneath I've got the Two of Wands. Underneath the deck usually indicates to me like what's not apparent to you or what you haven't noticed and what's hidden. And so what I'm seeing here with the Tower is that you recently experienced some kind of a shock. Okay. And this shock, this reality needed for you to accept it. You had to accept this new reality. And with the acceptance of this new reality, you realized some things are going to have to change. Some things are going to have to change. And you were still sitting in the sort of ambivalence of whether it's safe to change or not. And you kind of actually made your decision. It feels like out of survival, but also out of a lot of gratitude is what I'm seeing. And this idea of gratitude, it's kind of growing as I speak about it, but it feels like, you could be grateful for various things. But when I speak of one's own self, it's as if you are so grateful for your sovereignty and realizing that sovereignty is a mindset. It's in your mind. It's how you see yourself. And so all credit to your everything you've put into your personal growth. And so you're finding yourself actually just grateful that you exist, grateful to have yourself, grateful to have done the work, and grateful for your own product. Oh my goodness, people, these cards at the top of mind, I have the Magician. And so this is you recognizing the magician in you, the manifester in you. And even as I was shuffling, what I was imagining was, when I was talking about this gratitude for oneself, you're almost like, I was looking at you like you're a tree that bears fruit. Okay, because a tree is just like it's just like a part of nature, which one can easily just walk past and take for granted until you're really hungry and realize there's fruit that grows from this tree. That tree is me. And so you're no longer taking yourself for granted. You are so grateful for yourself. Okay, this is huge. The sense of gratitude just keeps growing. And underneath the deck, I have the Nine of Cups. Okay, and so this is a freedom. This is sovereignty. This is also understanding that you're going to be fine. This is understanding that it's actually just dependent on your dedication and not the idea of fear and not focusing on all the things that could go wrong, because you finally got a grasp of what it feels like to create and to make something grow, that all it's asked for all along is your focus and your dedication. And I don't want to take for granted here that, I almost said everyone, but I don't want to take for granted the idea that, that it's purely focus and dedication, because I can see here that this has been a long series of deaths and rebirths and a lot of shedding, because even when someone is focused on something, you can be focused on something, but that focus can be mixed with a lot of positives and negatives, which end up balancing out and leaving you at zero. And so this is a lot of shedding of the things you do not need, the things you should no longer be doing, the things you should no longer be worrying about. Okay, whether that's stuff outside or inside of you. Okay, so there's a lot of not just growth, but, whether that's been 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, it does not matter. Every time you've taken, let's say this 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, you are here now. Okay, so it's no longer about why you needed to take this step back to move there or whatever. It's all irrelevant now because you're here. I'm thinking about how many times you may have even been cross with your own spirit guides, calling them unfair, not understanding why they don't speak to you more clearly, all of that stuff. And you're starting to become more appreciative of having such strict spirit guides. And you know what I just heard? It's as if I heard you thinking that you almost feel sorry for or pity the people that have done you wrong or continue to try and do you wrong because of how you regard the work of your spirit guides. There were times I feel like that you would get slowed down by spending too much of your mind and heart power considering other people's consequences for their own actions. And I feel like you can see it, but you're just actually like a little bit fearful of your own spirit guides, and you're kind of in a working relationship with them. And so you're just like, you know what, we're all accountable for our actions. Let me just keep focusing on my 8 of Pentacles. I just got a whole lot of imagery, and I'm just a huge download, and I'm gonna let it settle. I saw you again as this tree with this fruit, speaking as the tree. Okay, one would think of like taking shrooms or something. Nothing. Okay, it's just energy, and I'm seeing this tree, and you are speaking, and there's this fruit growing on this tree, and there are people around you that are used to taking advantage of you. And maybe before there might have been a fear that someone will just steal from your tree without asking. But I'm seeing that feeling has fallen away because there's a recognition with yourself that, okay, number one, anyone who wants anything from your tree, you can share, okay? You can share and you can choose to share or not. But you no longer have to watch your back. That feeling of checking over your shoulder to see who's taking advantage, you no longer have to watch your back, because there is this understanding that anyone who just takes from the tree, and now it's giving me Adam and Eve, it's giving me Garden of Eden, shiny apple, okay, tree of wisdom. Anyone who steals or takes from your tree that is not supposed to has a huge lesson coming. Something about themselves gets revealed to them, something that maybe becomes inconvenient and sends them on a search, sends them on a journey, okay? A journey that they hadn't signed up for. They were just taking something that's not theirs, trying to take something that's not theirs, okay? Not knowing what they're doing. Phew. But that's not even the most significant aspect of this tree imagery. What is significant to me, mostly, is this idea that you realize that your fruit is not going to run out. You are feeling very abundant. You are feeling very abundant. And you know what else I'm seeing? Is those around you, okay, can see your abundance. They can feel it. They can smell it. And that is causing some kind of paranoia in some. It's sparking some kind of fear in others. Some are having a bad reaction. Others are just wondering what is going on, because you have not said anything and you are apparently quite distracted but content. And again, not easily triggered. I'm seeing someone as if you like can see a train coming at you, and you stop and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a magician. And I also see, like, you know, when someone needs to create something or make food or create something, they'll usually have to go shop for groceries or supplies or whatever it is and spend money on the supplies and whatever. And you're just like looking at your fingers and you just create. And for some of you, it's literally just this, you know what? I don't need this. No wonder I was so curious about this reading. Look at this in your subconscious, the world. This is you actually completely understanding where you are in your life right now and being able to look back. You know, if somebody were to ever write a book, let's say, about their lives, for a long time, maybe you haven't felt like you could actually explain your life. Whereas finally, it feels like there is not a part of your story that you are not willing to explain to someone you feel like explaining it to. I feel like before this, if you ever had to explain, it would just be too complicated to get around the story, especially because so much of it is so unfinished. And so I'm picking up on these feelings of almost like inadequacy and a fear of the future and not wanting to tell the story too soon in case you jinx it. And you've just woken up and realized there's nothing to jinx here. There's nothing to jinx. Let me just focus on what I'm doing. It's like you're finally on that train, and this train is called you. On the clock, I have 20 and 02, and 20 is judgment, and 2 is the high priestess. And so what I'm seeing is it's actually just you just following your intuition, following the things that you've seen that no one else understands. Okay, so this is like you're following your vision. Okay, and I know this is not like literally a vision card, but it's almost like you're following your own knowing. You've got no evidence, okay, and you are going on you. You're so decided. And it's just impossible to discourage you. Okay, so in your advice, I have the 2 of Swords. And I'll tell you what, I am looking through the deck for the card because as soon as I saw it, I put it back in. And what that's telling me is actually that there are some things that you need to deal with. We mentioned them before. Some things you need to close out on. It feels like there are areas where you've been wearing kind of like rose-colored glasses, blinkers on, things that you don't want to see because you don't know what you're going to do if you look at it, and if you zone in on it, you almost don't want to know, but it's actually bothering you. It's they're saying this will, you need to look at it. I just want to read more into it. If I could just find the card. And so now that it's right in front of me and I'm seeing this 2, I'm remembering that I saw a 20 and a 2. Okay. And so this 2 of Swords is like, there's some things you need to make decisions on. Okay. What's confusing you is what I need to read into around these things. Why have you sort of leaned towards the illusion rather than clarity and decisiveness over this thing? Or these things. And I got another 2 as clarity, 2 of Cups, and it didn't make sense, so I shuffled more, and I saw the 4 of Cups. And what this is telling me is because you don't want to disappoint others, there are people that love you. Okay, I'm seeing quite a number of these people. I'm seeing the disappointed ones, the ones that are wondering where you are, the ones that have been benefiting from your energy. I don't want to call these all vampires because not everybody means to do what they do, okay? But these people seem to worry about their survival without you, okay? And you're aware of that. You're aware of that. And I've pulled more cards here to be able to understand why is this in your advice and why do you need to think about this? Why do you have to not keep this as an illusion? It's weird. And they're saying, I got the Hierophant here, and I also saw the Knight of Wands. And so what they're showing me is that you are moving into this, let's call it a relationship, because now you're in a steady momentum, okay, with this relationship between you and yourself, or you and what you're pursuing or working on, or, relationship. And they're saying that things are going to progress. Your commitment is going to grow, and it is quite a serious one. And it's as if you don't want any of your focus remaining on the worry around others. And so this feels to me like a form of closure that's needed. And I'm not sure whether this closure is for you or for them. And what I'm understanding, especially because of all the speech interference that I've been talking about, what I'm understanding here is this is so that you can enjoy sort of like, it feels like seamless progress without interference. Okay, less interference is going to improve this situation, make it a smoother ride for you. Also so that your concerns can start to be can start to get resolved, rather than having some of your focus sitting on resolving the things that are of concern to others. It's almost like you've got split vision, split intuitive flow, split protection. And so these people have been enjoying your protection. Your presence provides protection. In your surrounding factors, I have the 10 of Wands. And underneath the deck, I have the 10 of Swords. Okay? So there is a completion happening in your life. It's like a complete surrender, complete dropping of your burdens. This is a big moment in your life. Okay? And they're wanting you to be able to enjoy it. And not just maximize on it, because it does not feel like it's going anywhere. But it's like you've kind of felt this 10 of Wands energy here and there, and then 10 of Swords energy here and there. But they're saying that is closing down now. That aspect of things is closing down. And so for you to speed up the process, allow the process to unfold more seamlessly, it would really help if you embraced some form of, and it feels mental, and for some people it feels, some of you, it feels literal, okay, some kind of closure around certain matters, to really leave the room when you've left the room, for example, and to not always feel like you need to be everywhere at once, to allow yourself to immerse yourself in this thing that you're dedicated to. Okay, they're saying that will help you. I almost forgot to pull cards for the near future, and I have the Lovers and the 7 of Wands, which to me feels like you literally just stumbled upon, it feels like the love of your life. You were rushing around, panicking about stuff, and then you just slap bang, and you're just immersed in this space that you love so much, and you feel like you're just receiving and receiving and receiving, and it feels like it also just arrived just in the nick of time. It feels like all you want to do is just take it in. In the area of what you want the most and fear the most, I have death and rebirth. And so this is you really wanting this new beginning, but it is also you that does not like endings. And before I actually laid this card, I had this song that came up, and I was wondering, why am I singing this song? And because it's a little bit sad, and I'm probably going to sing it wrong because, but I heard, if this is love, why do you break me down? Why do you break me down? And just to go into some of the lyrics, she says, it's been a while since I smiled, and I meant it for all my heart, but the idea of leaving this behind, it tears me apart. And so I recognize that it is difficult walking away from some of the stuff. Again, I don't know if it's literally for some of you or mentally, but you have 8 of Pentacles energy, and that's the level of dedication that you'd been applying to these places. And so what they're actually communicating is a need to resolve some of this so that you also don't make it more painful than it needs to be, okay, by stringing people along and leaving them in the dark when they are so accustomed to having you around. Not because you owe anyone anything, but more because you care. You care. And they're saying because communication is key. And you know what they're showing me is that you've been in a position like this before. And they're showing me that it's never been easy for you. You do not like goodbyes. But they're saying that the difference between this time and those other times is that those other times was more like sort of like a fear of disappointing people. Whereas this is actually, Eight of Cups is walking away from something you once loved. And so this is stuff that you love. These are people that you love and care about. And so walking away from them is painful because you don't want to walk away from them, but you'd have to walk away from something deeper and bigger out of you if you don't. That's what they're explaining. In the outcome, I have the Emperor. I don't remember a reading this strong in 2026. I feel like I do, but it feels like this right now. And so that is totally empowered, totally in charge. And the Chariot for clarity. This is you in perfect sort of like, I want to call it union, taking off with the divine. Now that I've said divine, I'm remembering that this came up in the last reading. This is your sense of empowerment, like not running away with you, but you running away with it. And you literally running with yourself and going. This is such a great reading. I am so proud of you. I really am. And I'm so grateful you let me be here with you in this energy. So empowering. And also the curiosity that drew me to it. Truly. I'm starting to think that when I talked about this divine energy, I think that it was in the members reading that I posted a few days ago. And I actually remember saying in that reading that I'm going to share it on this main channel. I never do that. I never talk about that. And I felt that need. And so now it's coming up here, which is reminding me that I need to release it. And so I will. And I will leave it. You'll be able to see at the end screen, which will show up. It'll be there. Let me check what it's called. It's called You Are in Transformation Mode. Realizing you have nothing to lose. I highly recommend it. It's free after I've released it on the main channel. I'm so grateful for all of the support I receive on this channel. The support that actually allows me to continue to do this work that I love so much. Sending you all so much love.